YouTubers, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you're watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins, your housing discussion guru. And today I got a really good topic for you guys that's kind of blowing up on my channel. Today is the 15th of May, 2018 for most of the world. It's still an hour to go on this side of my time zone till we hit Tuesday morning. So this is the video that kind of went a little nuts, especially with comments. And it's about the article, see how local millennials are abandoning Toronto and Vancouver. We'll go back to the comments on the video. Lots of comments on the video here. Very in-depth comments where people are planning on leaving or leaving where they are, or fed up where they are and want to leave or can't afford to leave where they are. So here it is, guys. See ya. Local millennials are abandoning Toronto and Vancouver. In today's show, we're going to be looking at what's happening in Australia, where people are abandoning major cities there. And also, I'm trying to find some on Auckland, New Zealand. But mind you, guys, you're going to need to remember, New Zealand is a very small country. So there's not much choice. There is. I mean, there's Christchurch. There's other places you can go. But I'm talking about in the great country, you know, 3,000 miles away within the same continent is what I'm trying to say. Or intermigration, you know, in different provinces, ways away from each other. So we'll be talking about London, mass exodus in London. I mean, there's so many places here. I had to pick the most important ones. They're all important. I mean, a mass migration within a country is huge because it starts changing the demographics everywhere. And what's important also, what a lot of people never talk about, it changes the voting patterns also. Voting patterns are very important, and it is crucial who gets voted in, right? So anyways, early Tuesday morning here with Mike in the night. I did a pile of chores today. I did so many chores today. I'm going to upload some videos. I did some gardening and stuff and some work around the house. I got a sunburn on my head. See that? That's a sunburn on my head. I'm going to be nice and toasty in a few days. Anyway, so see how local millennials are abandoning. So we're going to start off with the comments on this video. Then we're going to move into the articles that I found from specific major cities that are seeing a huge brain drain or leaving the knowledge or leaving of knowledge. Walking Journey is just join the comment section here. Don't forget to check out his channel, The Walking Journey. He's got some good stuff there. He left California himself. So let's read the comments on here, okay, guys, before we get into some of the articles from all over the world. So this is by Natalie. She says, I think therein lies the problem. The regional government have focused their efforts in attracting immigrant millennials, not Canadians. In general, newer immigrants have no emotional connection, attachment, or loyalty to these areas as local residents do. This exodus is the result of not taking care of family first. That is an incredible comment. That is an amazing comment by Natalie here. That is so true to the letter, to the period. Everything there is true, and I think Winston Churchill could have not said that any better than that. But that is perfect. Let's move on. Oh, someone says here, it's not abandoning. They are screwing the millennials, pricing them out. Don't let the headline fool you. Yep, very true. If you were asked to defend your country, would you? Would you put your life on the line if the country failed to provide you with the following? Access to the wealth generated by selling the commons such as urban real estate, oil, lumber, minerals, access to low debt, low-cost practical education, secure borders and policies. Sorry, so many people commenting here. Minerals, prevent displacement, immigration, affordable practical housing near other people like yourself, meaningful employment for young people and that develops people in their prime years, a financial system that allows wealth accumulation at all or most income levels and stages of life, and a chance at a respectful retirement. Seems to me this country and the West is generally has disrespected the young and the younger working age people for too long, stealing from the young to the unborn to finance the interests of usury, entitlements, and the retirement of those who vote for unsustainable policies and pointless social concerns. Revolution, we have an app for that. It's called Economic Collapse. So there's an app for that if you guys want to check it out. It is Economic Collapse. Will it lead? My main concern is, could it lead to civil unrest? In the cities, yes. A lot of people is telling me the same thing, asking me the same question, sorry, on a regular basis. Mike, will there be civil unrest if the housing market crashes? No, there won't be civil unrest. I made a video about that if you want to look it up. I get in depth with that. I have said before here in California, Asians invest in $1 million homes where the locals do not invest $200,000 in the same home. So that's what's happening. Old White Guy says, I'm starting a new channel called Mike Martin's Revenge. Oh, check out Old White Guy's channel, please, if you guys get some time. Old White Guy's pretty good, especially if you're living in Eastern Canada in the Ontario part. He's talking about Ontario a lot. So someone is Metal Gear, LA, California in the house, is in the house here. Then Mark 86, here in SoCal, housing prices are at all-time highs. What goes up must come down. So somebody, Mr. Robot C says, Mr. Roboto C says, the question is, you actually afford a house in Vancouver, Mike? As in putting down 25% down and having the remaining balance only be 30% of your expenses a month as it should be? So guys, like I said before, it's not that I don't want to buy a $2 million house. I'm not spending $2 million on a house that's realistically worth $300,000. I'm sorry. I'm freaking sorry. Instead, now I'm going to build a house in the Philippines with my wife with the disposable income I have here. My wife has land in the Philippines, a lot of land. We're going to build a nice house there for us to vacation in the winter. And I'm going to build my house in Portugal on some land I have there. Anyways, let's keep going here. Great post. Oh, no. Somebody says, this is a great article. I'll be bringing this issue to local politics. Then someone else says, great post. Just imagine what the stats would be if they included interprovincial migration. I'm sure it'd be a lot higher. I left my native Toronto for Halifax last year. There are many options out there if you just put the time and effort into thinking outside the box and finding the right solutions for ourselves. Being a debt slave is not one of them. Exactly. Thank you. In core Toronto, the schools do not have enough students, so the board mixes students of two schools together. Yeah, I heard about that because all the people are living in those big cities. Martins, doesn't look like you're making any money today. Should have stayed in Vancouver where people at least have jobs and money. Well, no, I'm actually doing really well. So, and if I came out here to actually so there's some really bad comments on there. Really bad comments. Really bad. People shouldn't be commenting like that, you know, guys. Please add me to that number on the list because I'm leaving in 3 to 4 years. So somebody's leaving too. Good job, Mike. And then they can write whatever they want. The title should be forced to leave because they are being outbidded. Right? That could be true, but it's not even being outbidded. Don't make me pull up what a $2 million house looks like and what a $2 million looks like in Vancouver. Don't make me pull that up on this video. I'm keeping on topic here. People leaving the city. I'm not paying $2 million for a house that's realistically worth 300 grand on a good day. Someone's commenting, Mike, what are real estate prices like in the Algarve, Portugal? Keep hearing about it for retirement. Shh. Portugal is a secret. Nobody goes there. It's got no immigration, which is really good. The country is very sovereign. And it's still considered the toilet of Europe, which is good. Because I'm a Portuguese citizen and I don't want to live in the Algarve. It's too party city for me. It's too much. It's nice to go visit, spend a week on the beaches and stuff, and take the kids and have a good time, go to the zoo, go mountain biking, do all kinds of stuff, just make tons of friends, go bonfires on the beach. That's fine. But to live in the Algarve, it's too much of a tourist area for other people, other Europeans visiting, not migrating there, visiting. So I'm very excited. Next year, I think I might hit Portugal next summer. Follow me on my channel. I'll do some videos, maybe 5 or 6 videos there. Everybody's coming online. Everybody's coming on board. Brody just showed up in the comments section. And then someone's commenting, my nephew who lives in the South San Francisco Bay Area, his factory closed and went to Texas. He has a pension, is on unemployment. There are no full-time jobs there. He says on average the pay is $15 to $17 an hour. He said big competition for jobs by outsiders. The cost of living is high. And piece of SHI jobs. When I was there, it was easy to get a good paying job. Yeah, but now things have changed, right? My friend left to London. He paid $600 for his first small apartment, and you can buy a house for $600,000 for his first small apartment, and you can buy a house for $200,000 to $300,000. Way more reasonable. I left Toronto, moved back to Edmonton. I'm a millennial too. Why sound so negative? It's a good thing for the province and country as a whole. The key is whether there is enough job being created in the smaller communities. By the way, how can the property prices reset if population increasing in the big cities? The problem is the population is increasing for the wrong reasons. So let's take a look at some of the articles that are happening here, that are going on from this article. So we're going to start off in Australia. This is really good. Sydneyers are fleeing in droves as record numbers of overseas migrants push up house prices and clog roads. Oh, you got a lot of bad drivers that come in. Woo! When I lived in Vancouver, if I wanted to drive a 2-kilometer stretch, just 2 kilometers, 4 city blocks, 5 city blocks max, I would almost get into 9 accidents. Not me. I'm in my legal lane doing my, just because of the driving is so bad. And you have we have bad drivers who just suck, and then you have bad drivers who are experienced, that know what they're doing. Like people that drive in Mexico City are very experienced drivers, but they drive bad in a way because they know what to do. They know how to get around. There's people that have no idea what's going on around them, and that's a big problem. So clogging roads. And then everyone's commenting here. Wise Ben is in the comment section. Working on it's in the comment section. She's saying Edmonton is a way better city to live in than Vancouver. And so everything's comments are rolling here in the comment section, guys. Thanks for joining me on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Early Tuesday morning. So Sydney's population grows by 100,000. Okay, hold on. Here's the punchline. For the first time as locals leave to make way for immigrants. So who qualifies to work those 100,000? I mean, is it like all these people in Sydney got these college education, degrees, and all this stuff to leave the city, and then now what? They're going to replace the lawyers, the garbage men, the engineers, the doctors, the police officers? Are they going to replace those? Like, how does that work? I'm seeing, if you picture it like an assembly line, and everybody's leaving the assembly line, who's coming in the assembly line to make up the difference of the 100,000 people that are making the way for immigrants? So everyone's commenting here in the comments section. So let's see what this thing is. Is this a video? There's no video here, liars. So it's just a picture. More than 18,000 people abandoned Sydney last year to make way for nearly 85,000 overseas migrants, with the total population growth in the nation's biggest city topping 100,000 for the first time ever. Australia's Bureau of Statistics figures for 2016 and 2017 released on Tuesday show Sydney's population was 5.1 million in June 2017, an increase of 101,000 people, or 2% on the previous year. That figure included 684 from net overseas migration, 34,994 from natural increase, births minus deaths, and loss of 18,120 of net internal migration compared to 15,900 people who left in 2016. They are pushing the people out, said Leth Olson, chief economist with Macro Business. The net international migration figure means that more people left Sydney for other parts of Australia than arrived, with 40,000 heading elsewhere in New South Wales and 14,400 to Melbourne. According to the Australian, council areas with some of the highest rates of overseas migrations were the same areas where people were leaving to live elsewhere. The cost of housing in Sydney has obviously gone through the roof. It's one of the most expensive places to live in the world. A lot of younger people especially can't afford to live there anymore. So they're being forced to leave, Mr. Van Olsen said. Secondly, livability is being massively eroded. Traffic congestion. Woo! Trains, schools, hospitals, all manner of public services, and related to that, it's just becoming an expensive place to live, not just for housing, but for day-to-day life. Because of that, I think a lot of people are leaving and going to Brisbane and Melbourne, which has its own problems. Melbourne has a lot of the same growth pressures, but it's a relative thing. The traffic may stink up, but you don't get gouged everywhere with tolls, and housing is a lot cheaper. The ABS, always broadcasting crap, figures show that Victorian capital actually recorded the largest and fastest growth last year, increasing by 125,400 of 2.7% to reach 4.9 million. That was driven by 79,974 net overseas migration of 34,000 from natural increase plus 9,166 from internal migration. Around 80% of the total net overseas migration went to Sydney and Melbourne. Together, Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane account for more than 70% of Australia's population growth in 2016-2017. Darwin, Adelaide, and Perth experienced relatively low rates population growth, each at 1% or less. The latest release in the first time, the ABS has broken down the population growth by natural increase, internal, and overseas migration. It is now possible to not only see how much population is changing in the area, but to understand why the change is occurring, ABS Demographic Director Anthony Grubb says. So this is it, guys. This is people being pushed out of the big cities and making their way for immigrants. Comments. What's going on in the comment section? So working on it says Edmonton is much cheaper than anywhere in BC. You haven't seen bad driving until you hit the Philippines. Yes. Okay, there's bad drivers in the Philippines, but a lot of them are very experienced. They're not like out to lunch. They're cutting into buses. They're cutting off traffic. But they're knowledgeable of what they're doing. I'm talking about driving 2 city blocks in Vancouver, and you almost get hit by a guy that decides he doesn't want to make a right turn in the right turn lane, Or, oh, this is a right turn lane. I'm just going to put my signal. That means I'm just going to make a lane change. I don't care if there's anyone beside me. They better move because I put my signal on. Like, very garbage driving. Like, I'm talking about, in the Philippines, they're experienced. Mexico City, they're bad drivers, but they're experienced bad drivers. They know how to drive properly. They know what they're doing to get away with it. Other drivers just are just out spaced to lunch. They have no idea what's going on around. And that's what I'm talking about. And I think that's what they're talking about in this article. Yeah, so I've been to Edmonton myself. And someone's commenting here asking, how is Edmonton better than Vancouver? And then working on it says, it's cheaper, more jobs, and easier to get around. Yes, I did go to Edmonton. And I did go to Calgary. Calgary has got this really cool SkyTrain that stops at different places. And really nice. I went around to the malls, checking things out, downtown, different parts. Had a fantastic time down there for a few days. And then Edmonton, I had a great time in Edmonton too. I went to the stadium with the big statue outside with Wayne Gretzky holding Lord Stanley's cup. It's good. The cities are movable. It's very movable. You can move around. You can get around the towns. A lot of suburbs around Edmonton, which give a good balance of living all around, you know. And then the Dawn just checked into the comments section. Yes, the Dawn. And I'm going to add... I'm going to make the Dawn a moderator on my channel here. And a couple other people, Walking Journey, if he comes back. But anyways, so this is what's happening here, guys. I kind of wanted to put these articles out there. So let's move on to Melbourne. Nearly 7,000 Melbourne residents moved to Geelong last year. Geelong? Okay, well, people are leaving Melbourne too. So in this article, it's saying Sydney's population grows by 100,000 as locals leave to make way for immigrants. Okay, and a majority of people intermigrated into Melbourne, but now everyone's leaving Melbourne. So you see what I'm saying here. I'm gonna make Walking Journey too. If he's on, he watches a lot of my shows. So okay, nearly 7,000 Melbourne residents moved to Geelong last year. The scale of migration of Melbourne buyers to Geelong has revealed nearly 7,000 people moved to Corio Bay last financial year. So people are leaving there too. The scale of immigration of Melbourne home buyers to Geelong has been revealed as nearly 7,000 people moved to Cairo by the last financial year. Australian Bureau of Statistics data for international migration trends found Geelong was the third most popular regional destination for residents escaping their nearest Australian capital city. Only the Gold Coast of Victoria's Latrobe Gippsland's regional had higher number of arrivals from the nearest capital city in the 2016-2017 fiscal year. So Melbourne buyers paid $800,000 to secure a house, Geelong West on Saturday, source supplied. So the $800,000 to secure this house. Wow. It almost looks like a trailer put sideways. I'm not too sure. But the Gold Coast was the favorite destination nationally, with more than 19,000 people leaving the capital city for sunny climate of southeast Queensland. The Australian Capital Territory was the second national, with nearly 12,000 new residents in the Sunshine Coast of Latrobe, Glebe, and Geelong. The top 5 destinations for former Melbourne residents were all within Victoria and close to the city. So let's see what this guy has to say. Hope it's not all music.
Hi, I'm Andrew Winter. I'm here to share a few insights on Aussie real estate. Real estate, they say that location is everything. Well, here are 4 factors to consider. Number 1, of course, is geography. Does the area you're considering suit your needs? How far is it from the CBD? Public transport, are they close at hand? Shops and all the other amenities that are important to you. Then you have to consider location within that location. Where is the right side of that suburb for you to be? You really need to do your research. Number 3 is popularity and perception of an area. Now, population can be measured in increasing median house prices or how quickly a home sells in that area. But perception, well, that's a little bit different. You can measure that with good schools or an increasingly popular cafe and restaurant scene, and also checking the word on the street. And number 4, imagine you're buying in a cheaper area. Is there room for those values to grow? If you're buying in an expensive area, will that hefty price tag be sustainable? Within those 2 questions, there is so much research you need to do to make sure you get it right.
So this guy's talking more about investment property, not laying down roots type of thing. So this is at 7,000 Melbourne residents. So let's move on. So someone in the comment section, the Don says, in Nanaimo, and you won't believe what houses are going for here now. The average income is still around 30 to 35, $35,000. People are struggling to even afford rent now. Yes. So what's happening is a lot of, I'll get to the article here when I get to that one. A lot of people are moving to the different parts of the province, right? And that's what's happening right now everywhere. Every English-speaking country is struggling. Even Jamaica is having this problem. Jamaica, look up Jamaica. Jamaica, immigration problem in Jamaica. You wouldn't believe how bad it is in Jamaica. And then Walking Journey is saying you could buy a house for $90,000 here. You can. In parts of Texas, you could buy a nice house for $90,000. $140,000 gives you a big house with a pool and a lot of land. And close to Houston, 40 minutes from Houston, 30 minutes from Dallas, you know, like reasonable, you know, to a big city if you need stuff, you know what I'm saying? South of England is becoming more like London. Young people move out. It's a time bomb for the conservative. So again, south of England. More than 1 million people moved out of London over the last 4 years. And 3/4 of those people now live in south of England. I keep telling you, people, that there's a huge migration out of London. The housing is so expensive in London. Parts of London is a complete ghost town. Like big cities where you see kids playing outside and stuff and hopscotch and having a good time, children laughing outside. You don't get that anymore. Here, where I live in the cul-de-sac, there's a hockey game here every day on the street. There's kids laughing, playing basketball in the driveways. It's beautiful. The sound is just brings me back to when I was a child, you know? So everyone's commenting here. Let's just keep going. South of England, Office National Statistics. Its international migration figures show tens of thousands arrived in places such as Canterbury, Brington, Thurrock, Midway, Dradford, Luton, Slough, Welwyn, Garden City. Over the same 4-year period, 750,000 people arrived from London from elsewhere. Go back to this article. Sydney's population grows 100,000 for the first time as locals leave to make way for immigrants. So 750,000 people arrived from London elsewhere. What is that telling you, people? Selling out to the highest bidders. This was sent to me by my friend who lives in Dublin. Dublin life is unsustainable. Meets the professionals who left for the Midwest to enjoy better quality of life, and that is Midwest Ireland. That's a good place to retire to. If you want something a little bit more historical, a little bit more quiet, Midwest of Ireland is a nice place to listen to the bagpipe music and kind of, I know it's Scotland, but you know what I mean, just kind of disappear, you know? People are commenting. Yep. So Wiseman saying, Mike, we get lots of people from London move to Winnipeg. Oh yeah, there's a huge surge of Londoners. Not even Londoners. People from Manchester, people from different parts, Winchester, and all those places. They're all coming down to parts of Canada. There's quite a few of them moved to where was it? It wasn't Quebec. It was a bit in Winnipeg, like he said in the comments, but somewhere else in Canada. It wasn't Alberta. It wasn't in Alberta. Oh, Saskatoon. Lots of Londoners moving to Saskatoon too. Quite a few actually. Dublin life is unsustainable. Meet the professionals. So here you go. Professionals are leaving the city for a better career opportunities, shorter commutes, less traffic, and lower property prices and living costs. That's the right thing to do. Professionals are leaving Dublin for the Midwest of Ireland as they say they have a better quality of life, shorter commute times, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we read that already. A new study carried by the National Recruitment and HR Services Group, Collins and Nicholson, in conjunction with the Limerick Chamber, shows that 93% of professionals who move to the Midwest for career opportunities are much happier with their location. Almost 3/4, 72%, say they have better balance between their working and home lives, and some 70% now have quicker commute to work. I love where I live. I drive 2 kilometers to work. I'm going to start bike riding to work now. I'm going to buy a helmet and start bike riding to work 2 kilometers every day. You know what I'm saying? People are commenting here. Comments are rolling here. Okay. Ed Sullivan, site lead Uber in Limerick, said work life in Dublin was unsustainable. And it's true. These big cities basically have been bought out. They were attractions. Whenever you look to visit a state or a small country, you're always wanting to look at the capital. Like, okay, it won't work for Brazil because the capital of Brazil is Brasilia. A lot of people don't travel there too much. They go to Rio or Sao Paulo, but it's the big cities get the attraction. It's always the big cities. I want to move to California. Where do you want to live? Maybe San Francisco, maybe Los Angeles. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? So it's always the big cities that take the hit more, you know. England. What city do I know in England? London. Then everyone goes to London because that's the main, you know what I'm saying? So Dublin was unsustainable, and it's true. He's not lying. I commuted from my home to Limerick to Dublin for almost 3 years on a weekly basis, traveling early Monday mornings and back late Friday nights. For me, it was unsustainable. It wasn't the travel and being away from my family. It was the complete lack of work-life balance. It's very important. And people are not, you know. The move back to Limerick changed my life completely. The pace of life is now much better, and it has had a huge impact on my energy levels as I can do my downtime now and relax and recharge. It has allowed me to spend more time with my family, but also has given me more free time, and I'm back playing football, something I had to give up for years. Here you go. I was talking to someone just last week who is in San Francisco and who wants to come home, but he hadn't realized how vibrant the Midwest has become. So a lot of places are moving to the Midwest of Ireland. So look it up if you're looking for a place to retire or maybe start over. Let's move on. Why more people are leaving California than moving here. So this is from Sacramento, Fox 40. This was sent to me from someone there too. Said, Mike, you got to talk about this. So let's see what the video shows.
Was like my little...
Hold on. Oops. Let me refresh that. It's going... I just wanted to pause it for a second there so I could get the audio up, and let me fix the mic here first.
Well, this was like my little work shed, and I have my welder and my tools up here. But right now we have all our boxes in here, or a lot of them.
A lifetime of memories.
This is actually my son's little rocking horse I built for him when he was a baby. So that goes with us. This is my daughter's bed.
That's my grandpa's bag from World War II.
Packed away for a move that will change everything.
This is where we brought our babies home. You know, every Christmas it's been here, every birthday.
The Mays family, Shannon, Jason, Jackson, and Katie, have lived in Vacaville for almost 20 years.
We left the Bay Area to come to Vacaville because of crowding and crime and costs of housing.
When we moved up here to Vacaville, to Solano County, we loved it at first. Like the first 10 years were great.
But now they're moving again, and this time they're leaving California.
If you had told me even a year ago, oh, you're moving to Oklahoma, you know, I would have thought you were crazy.
Heading to Oklahoma, and they're not going alone.
And as soon as they were like, oh, we're looking into moving to Oklahoma, I was like, let's go. I'm ready.
Shannon's sister, Chanel Wyon, and her family are moving too.
There's so many reasons we're moving. It's not just financial. It's how busy it is, how crowded it is, how dirty it is, the traffic, the laws.
Both families say the high cost of living, traffic, and increasing government regulations has created a life they can no longer afford. Jason May says he got the idea of moving to Oklahoma from an article online.
I was just reading an article really one day, and it popped up like a great place to retire is Oklahoma. I'm like, really? I never thought about that. I never really thought about Oklahoma at all. But then I started looking at the prices of houses and, you know, the cost of living and stuff. Like, wow, that's really neat.
In Stillwater, Oklahoma, the Mays were able to buy 10 acres of land for only $83,000. More than enough land for both families to build a home.
We're going to be able to take the equity from this home and go out there, build our own house, a nice house, and have no mortgage.
The Mays know their money will go much further in the Sooner State. According to Zillow, in February 2018, the average price for a home in the U.S. was $261,000. In California, $469,000. And in Oklahoma, only $116,000.
Over the last few decades, more people have been leaving California for other states than have been coming here.
Brian Euler with the Legislative Analyst's Office says the Mays and the Wyons move out of the state as part of a larger trend. Between 2007 and 2016, 6 million Californians left the Golden State. Euler says it all comes down to money.
California's cost of living, which is primarily driven by our housing costs, are higher than pretty much any other state in the country. And as a baseline, that means that people are going to be more likely to want to leave California for other states.
While it's not clear what the future holds for California and its middle-class migration, the Mays family knows their future is in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
In the past, when we had looked into moving, I never felt completely at peace about it. This time, I really do.
The chance to find new freedom, their own little piece of the American dream.
It makes it so that people like us, we're normal blue-collar family. As a matter of fact, we're a single-income family. It made it attainable for us to kind of live out the dream that we wanted.
So that's that, guys. I wanted to show that to you guys. California lost, I can't remember how many millions of people, but it was 6 million or 16. It was a lot, but lots of people are leaving the state of California too. It's no new news, but it's happening. 800,000 people about to flee New York and California because taxes, say economists. 800,000 people will leave New York and California over the next 3 years due to the new tax bill. Conservatives economists Arthur Laffer and Stephen Moore said in an Open Wall Street Journal. Other economists dispute findings, say that there's no connection between taxes and migration. So let's see what this one has to say. This one has no, I'm going to lower the music on this so it doesn't get flagged. More and more people will move to lower to no income states. The tax change limit education and state local taxes. This means that even some higher earning taxpayers in high tax states like California and New York will face tax increases under the new tax code. But some academies call the forecast pressure, I didn't see that, points out these states have high taxes. No correlation between the top state tax rate and the numbers of millionaires in the state. What's more, the number of millionaires in those high-tax states, New York has added 305,000 new millionaires, totaling 7.6 million, and California has added a whopping 733,000 new millionaires. But where are these millionaires coming from? That is the main question, people, that I want to ask. Who are these millionaires? So let's move on. With no let-up in home prices, the California exodus surges. This article's from 4 days ago. California domestic migration, and it's happening again. It's going full blast. Full blast. Let's move on. This was the SIA. Local millennials are abandoning Toronto and Vancouver, and it goes to this first article that I did on my channel here talking about it. And I read these comments at the beginning of the show if you guys want to comment in on that. And let's go here. This one is a good one too. The surprising cities Canadians are leaving. So, where are people leaving? Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Winnipeg, believe it or not. People are moving to Saskatoon, Ottawa, Hamilton, Calgary, Edmonton is number 1. So these are where migration flow charts. This is a flow chart of migration, guys. So and let me see what else is going on here in the comment section. Yeah, Dr. Ted saying Winnipeg is the most affordable cities. No. Wiseman is saying Dr. Ted, Winnipeg is the most affordable cities to live for housing in Canada. And then Dr. Ted said, but I heard crime is higher. Crime is high. It kind of looks a little dodgy. I stayed, when I was in Winnipeg, I stayed like in one of those really nice hotels that goes into the underground and lets you go into the underground part of where those main streets are. There's these huge crossing main streets there. And to get to the stadium, you could go underground and walk around to get to stadiums and other parts, other malls and stuff, and it's all kind of underground, which is really nice. But I did feel kind of sketched out in some areas. People kind of looking at me kind of shifty. And so, you know, that's the only problem with Winnipeg. So here it is, guys. Migration flows, major Canadian cities. Edmonton and Calgary are first and second, followed by Hamilton by far. And then Ottawa, Saskatoon. So these are the cities, guys. Where are Torontonians moving? Small town Ontario, Hamilton, Oshawa, Barrie, Kitchener, Waterloo. So they're really pushing out of the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area. They're really pushing the envelope. Where are Vancouverites moving? Rural small town BC. Me, that's me. I'm in Merritt. Toronto. So Vancouverites are moving to Toronto. Abbotsford, Mission, Calgary, and then Edmonton. Where are Montrealers moving? Small town Quebec, Toronto, Ottawa, Gatineau, Quebec City, and Sherbrooke. So that's that, people. I want to show you that. Let's move on here. If people can't afford to work in Vancouver, what happens to the city? That's one thing I've always wondered. If you don't have anyone there to maintain the infrastructure, what happens? You don't have garbage men. You don't have engineers working for the city to fix bridges and stuff. You don't have plastic surgeons. You don't have doctors. Nurses are leaving by the droves, moving stateside. They're getting better offers stateside. There's some nurses getting 1 year free rent to move down to, North Carolina. 1 year free rent to try it out. And the starting bonus of like 15,000 American to start. So, perhaps you look like a good target. Someone said in my, the interesting thing is that crime in Canada is going P compared to 1995 when I left. Then somebody else is saying, this is miserable and it will get worse. How could so many people get into this mess? The liquidation by the banks have not even started. Then someone said true to that. gas. So the Don's commenting, gas in Nanaimo just went to $1.49, all-time record high, unreal. Minimum wage employees are getting squeezed to death from all sides. Rent, gas, food, it's all unaffordable and getting worse. Then you got the landlords that own the properties, who everyone blames, but hey, guys, it's costing me more money to live. I need to raise the rent on my income property that I've owned or something for many years, and then the tenant has to, you know, come up with the extra. You know, they're passing on the costs, and it's always the working poor that gets passed on the costs, right? So let's move on. Help wanted. So if you've been out for a walk in Vancouver lately, you've no doubt seen the help wanted signs dotting businesses around the city. The shortage of labor has hit the service and hospital industries particularly hard. Some businesses saying they've been forced to close due to staffing shortages. There's 3 major hotels in downtown Vancouver, like 5-star hotels, that are closing because they can't staff, and they can't. Everyone's doing Airbnb. It's really tough. So there's 3 major hotels closing, and it's not gonna. People are like, oh man, if these hotels close, people are gonna lose their jobs. They're abandoned. They're becoming abandoned, just like Detroit. If you look at Detroit from like 5 years ago, you see all these abandoned Hilton hotels, or I think it was the Hilton Hotel was completely abandoned. They had a cop car parked outside of it to watch for squatters and stuff. It got bad. It got really bad. You know what I'm saying? So Dylan has a great comment to ask. Anyone think it's just really just inflation? Off the leash now? Then someone said, Mike, you will be liked in Winnipeg. I'm liked everywhere. I don't have nothing with nobody, you know what I'm saying? And that's what lets me sleep good at night. The shortage of labor hit the service hospitality. Okay, it's an issue that many have pinned to the city's high cost of housing. Along with the help wanted signs, Vancouver has also seen a string of why I'm leaving Vancouver editorials penned in recent months as families and workers declare they simply can't afford to live in the city anymore. It's an alarming trend for a city, O'Brien said, that the most prosperous in BC and has Canada's lowest unemployment rate. Nothing seems to make sense in the city where you can't afford to live for $20 an hour. Even $25 an hour doesn't cut it in this city, he said. We're seeing an exodus from the city, and I think it will come unless some really radical changes are done to bring the cost of housing down for the average person. See, it's the average person that pays their way through the infrastructure. The infrastructure is supported by the average person. The rich don't contribute to the infrastructure. The dirt poor or the really poor don't contribute to the infrastructure. It's the working, middle class, working poor that contributes and facilitates the infrastructure around you that is, you know, without that class working and contributing financially with their hard working, sweat, tears. Sorry guys, and taxes being a heap of trouble right now. And then the Don weighed in and said, well, people are commenting right now, saying right now, basically, is it just inflation? Could it be inflation? Well, in the comments below, if you're watching this on repeat, please let me know in the comments below whether you think this is a link, or is inflation off the leash now, like Dylan Lopez is saying. Now, people are saying, now the Don's saying, they better start raising rates fast before they cause hyperinflation. It may be already too late. So let's continue here. Even Vancouver's building boom and its corresponding construction jobs are at risk, O'Brien suggested. Nothing that the average construction worker pulls down about $54,000 a year. Sorry. Let's watch this video. This looks like a guy working in a restaurant here in the food industry.
Clickmore is fulfilling a dream to become a chef. He's pursuing his Red Seal at the Have Culinary Training School in Vancouver's downtown east side.
When I first came here, I was knee-deep in my addictions and that, and one thing that did help me is to focus on something, to get a goal.
The society not only helps rebuild lives with job training and work opportunities, but they also fulfill a much-needed gap in the industry.
It's a real problem, and we're seeing businesses now that are reducing hours. Some businesses are closing. They decide not to operate because it's just not worth it any longer. So we're probably in a crisis situation. And where we used to have a lot of youth that would roll into restaurants and cut their teeth and get great experience and then move on, that population isn't there any longer. And so we're having now to rethink, where can these workers come from?
That's where HAVE comes in, Hope, Action, Values, and Ethics. Since 2007, more than 900 students have gone through the 8-week program free of cost. It has an 80% success rate. HAVE focuses in on an untapped resource in the job market, and other industries are starting to see its potential.
A good friend of mine who is in the cycling business, they need bike mechanics. And so they've been thinking about doing the same kind of model with bike mechanics, because it's very seasonal and they come and they go.
Organizers would like to see this program expanded throughout the province to fulfill an employment gap.
My ultimate goal is to become a chef, a Red Seal chef, and with the help of Chef Amber Anderson, I'll prevail.
Grace Key, Global News.
So that's that. Kind of wanted to show that to you guys. So it is becoming a big problem right now, and so they can't even get employment. So it's not that there's no jobs to pay the rent. There's jobs, but people can't afford to live. So even like the article said, even at $25 an hour. So this is an interesting article, and this one is from February 2018. International migration drives metro population growth while losses fueled by draw of neighboring areas. So this is from this is from this February, sorry. A record number of Metro Vancouver residents have fled the region for other areas of BC, according to the most recent population data from Statistics Canada. At the same time, Metro, which is home to more than 2.5 million people, has been sustained population growth thanks to the steady immigration from other countries. So it's the immigrants that are keeping the population afloat, right? So somebody in the comment section is saying it's too late to raise rates now. It will make it a lot worse. So that is true. But do we enter into hyperinflation and the country fails as a whole? Or do we actually start really creating real jobs and start... Or do we just start populating the smaller towns and bringing our businesses there? Or our way of life there and start changing the demographic, right? It'd be huge gentrification changes in small towns. You start seeing crime go down and more people from outside the city that have means to get to these small towns and live there and start building a future and laying roots. You'll start see a huge gentrification of movement of the homelessness in these small towns moving to other bigger cities that could support that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just talking. So this is another one. So this is another article. So then this bleeds into the Douglas Todd article of Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. And this was from March 2018, a month after a total of 9,345. Wait. There was something in this article here that actually talked about... Hold on. This article before. Hold on a second. Okay. The last time there was similar number of people, 8,278 people leaving Metro Vancouver for other areas of the province. Metro Vancouver saw a loss of 5,578 people go elsewhere in BC. I'm just trying to find here with these... there's another part of this article that looked pretty good. No, I can't find it. But anyways, then this goes back to this Douglas Todd article they're bringing up pretty much in every video now. That's the net total of 9,345 whites and 460 Indigenous people left Metro Vancouver, other parts of the province in 1 year period ending July 2016, according to new release Statistics Canada. So what's going to happen is you're going to see intermigration in the province. So you're going to see the locals, just like here, just like in Australia, first article, Sydney's population grows by 100,000, but for the first time, locals leave to make way for immigrants. Every other article says the same thing. Same thing with here. 1 million people moved out of London to make way for 750,000 people arrive from London from elsewhere. And then same thing with Dublin. Dublin is unsustainable, and people are moving to the Midwest of London. Ireland, same thing, Dublin, Ireland. People are leaving California, going to Oklahoma. And same thing with here. People, mass exodus to California, Vancouver, Toronto. What cities are Canadians going to? It says right here, majority of Canadians are moving to Edmonton and Calgary, Hamilton and Ottawa. And even Ottawa, Saskatoon, Winnipeg, everyone's leaving Vancouver, Montreal, and Toronto. So you're seeing the patterns in every English-speaking country. Here you go. They're blaming no jobs available? Yeah, right. Lots of help wanted signs all over Vancouver where they can't find people to work. Now, this question is good. What happens to the city? What happens to the infrastructure? Let's move on. Back again. International migration, metro population growth while loses fueled by draw by neighboring areas. And again, back to the same article. So guys, in the comments below, this was a really hot article that I read the other day, and it sparked this video for me to do. And read the comments here. Let me know what you guys think. I'd appreciate it very much. I'm tired, guys. It's getting late. I had a long day. I'm going to upload some videos I did today. Yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments below if you're watching this on Rewind. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I appreciate it very much for joining me. And yeah, I can't wait to see the comments on this video, and then we can go from there and discuss what is happening with this huge intermigration, how it's being filled by immigration, but who's going to pay towards the infrastructure and keeping it afloat? It's a very interesting way of, I don't know. Let me know. Comment below. Thanks for watching.